99.9% of it is just depressing. There are massive forest fires in California. There's a huge hurricane that is heading towards Florida. The tornado destroys thousands of homes. 10 people have gone missing. 50 children died in a school shooting. 8 people die in a car crash. There's a bomb threat. Do you know that romaine lettuce you just ate? Yeah, it's full of E. coli. You know that doctor's appointment you waited in line for 6 hours, and all they did was give you a prescription. The one the doctor gave you commonly causes cancer and heart disease. The good news is that they found who the murderer is. The bad news is, it's your next-door neighbor. If we spend a lot of time raking the national forest, then there shouldn't be any problems. How much time? 73 years. By the time you get the forest raked, many more forest fires will probably occur. The meteorologists are so dramatic. There is a massive blizzard coming in this weekend. You get 0.000001 inches of snow. I understand that weather patterns change and are difficult to predict. It's just frustrating when you put 5 layers on and it feels like summer out. I guess it's better than the alternative, though many of the stories are the same if you watch the same news station multiple times a day. In old times, news spread slowly after many, many days, and today there are many benefits in our lives. But other side news anchors also want to make every single news a piece of breaking news, although there are many reasons to skip watching the news. 1. The news is depressing. 2. Missing out on social interaction. 3. Programming yourself with negativity. 4. Subliminal programming and advertising. 5. It degrades your self-control and discipline. If you want to make your life discipline and happy, you have to do and watch all things that you want, but keep it low time. If you watch TV, you can watch a movie, a series, limited news, and educational or motivational things. I was getting progressively more fed up with the news, particularly as the news cycle approach took hold across more and more outlets until you found yourself hearing the same 3 stories and what has happened in the last 5 minutes updates. At the same time, I read a story that discussed the effect of being bombarded by messages which essentially translate as "be afraid" all the time, and weighed that against the imperative to be informed. And it concluded that it didn't balance at all. You don't need to follow the news to be informed. You can get information from secondary, non-mainstream sources where they talk about the news but add a lot more depth of discussion and discourse than the mainstream sources do. I listen to a lot of podcasts where I hear about the effect of the news or how it's hitting the consciousness. If I want to hear the actual quote of what a person said or watch the video footage, I can do that. If a situation is complex, you can often find good online essays by people, or you can read a book on the subject. Once you've read a couple of books on a particular subject, you know a lot more than the news is going to tell you in the 3 minutes that they try and devote to explaining something. And when a topic is particularly contentious or complex, you want something bigger to be able to consider the angles and let you form your own opinion, rather than just telling you what the news states it is. Whilst I don't have any data to underpin this, I definitely feel a lot happier about how I feel about the world since giving up the daily news. I measure the world's situation and progress by reading blogs, listening to podcasts, reading research papers rather than the news story that gives you a bad summary of them, and simply listening to the people around me. It's very telling that many people nowadays seem to feel like the world is falling apart and that it's going downhill. And if you unplug from the news and go out there and talk to people, it doesn't feel like that at all. Don't get me wrong, there are major problems, but there are so many areas in which the world is getting better, and more people are able to be engaged with the process of that. Finally, a word on social media. At the time of deciding to give up on the news, I felt that I found out a lot of relevant and interesting stuff via Facebook, so that would be a good source of information. After a couple of years of this, I came to the same conclusion with social media. Before the Cambridge Analytica scandal and concerns about the manipulation that emerged, social media is just bombarding you with negative messages and not actually helping you see what the world is really like. I came off Facebook and haven't looked back.